I'm standing behind a locked door. There's a cop on the other side of the door, and he says, "Do me a favor and open the door so we can talk to each other face to face." And I say, "I'm not gonna do you a favor. I'm not gonna do you a favor. Nobody does any favors for me. And P.S., I don't do favors for cops." I was working as an actor for crisis intervention team, training police officers to deal with people with mental illness in crisis. About 5 years later, after I stopped doing that work, I was living in a house in South Boulder. I'd lived in this house for about 11 years, but I had recently invited a young woman that I met on Craigslist to move in as my housemate. What started as seemingly benign housemate conflict about the heats and the light quickly devolved into scathing emails she sent me about telling me that I was disgusting, and early morning fits of rage when things didn't go her way. She was on the lease, and she refused to leave, so I leaned in and I did everything I could to make it work. I thought all I had to do was show up with an open heart and a willingness, and we could find our way through. Because humans are good, and humans want to be connected. She believed I was dangerous, and that I was stealing her stuff and intentionally trying to hurt her. And my home stopped feeling like a home. One day when I realized I was scared to walk from my room to the front door, I made the decision to leave my home of 11 years. I'd stopped staying at the house, but I went back there to pack up, and I was packing up some shelves, and I moved some things of hers from the shelves to the kitchen table. The next day, I went to the house with a friend, because at this point I didn't go to the house without a friend, and I find 2 boxes in the garage with all of my kitchen stuff dumped in the boxes. And after all those months of trying to make it work, of staying calm, of pulling out all my tools for skillful communication, I broke. I stormed into the house and I said, "Why is my stuff in the garage?" She said, "You moved my things, I moved your things. Remember, you fuck with me, I fuck with you 3 times as hard. That's a promise." And I said, "Don't touch my stuff." At that moment, we noticed the dog had gotten out the front door, her dog, and she says, "You're dangerous, you're trying to hurt him on purpose. I'm gonna call the cops for animal endangerment." And I said, "Don't touch my stuff." And by now our noses were up in each other's faces, and our noses are 3 centimeters apart, and darts are flying from eye to eye, and my hair is standing on end in a rage. And I say, "Don't touch my stuff. He's a living animal. Don't touch my stuff. He's a living animal." And in my fury, all I can do is repeat those words over and over. "Don't touch my stuff." My friend comes between us, and he takes me outside. Minutes later, a cop car drives up. A police officer walks up the driveway and he says, "What's going on?" And I tell him what's going on. And he goes in the house and he talks to her, and he comes back out and he talks to me. And after a few trips in and out through the front door, he comes out and he says, "Clearly, communication is not going to happen here. But we need to make a plan to get you moved out of here safely." I marveled at his skill and his grace as he moved in and out that door and moved between our stories and treated us like 2 good humans trying to make our way through. I flashed back to my days as a CIT actor, but this time I wasn't acting. When things resolved, I talked to him in the driveway and I said, "Have you done your CIT training?" And he said, "Oh yes, I did, and I'm a trainer in that work now. I'm so committed to that work. I believe it saves lives." I told him I had been an actor, and we did the math and figured out I had probably been an actor when he went through the training. He said, "You guys were amazing. I learned so much in that training." And I said, "If I had anything to do with how skillful you were today, I am deeply honored." He gave me his card before he left that day, and he remained a resource over the next few weeks while I was moving. His name was Officer Eric Talley. About 2 months later, a shooter walked into the King Soopers at the corner of Table Mesa and Broadway in Boulder and gunned down 9 innocent people. When I heard that a police officer had been shot, I braced myself as I looked to see who it was. My eyes landed hard on that name, Eric Talley. Everything got quiet. My breath stopped short. My brain searched to try to make sense of what I was seeing. I sat down on my bed and I wept. The next day I went down to the police station where a memorial was rising up, and I left a note on his patrol car. I said, "Dear Officer Talley, you helped me in a time of trouble. Your life made a difference in mine." The business card that he gave me that day still hangs on my bulletin board. It reminds me of his kindness. And it reminds me of the beauty and the tragedy and the mystery of being human. Thank you.